Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Here for some more Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 DLC Pack 19 free update content. Today we have a brand new Super Soul that probably shouldn't even exist, to be honest, just because it's extremely overpowered. It grants an absurd amount of strength for all custom characters that roam around Kantan City. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and showcase it. So without further ado, make sure to drop a like, turn on post notifications, and let's jump straight into it. So at the time of recording this video, the Super Soul is not obtainable just yet. It will be later down the line, again, because it's part of DLC Pack 19 free update. I'm assuming it might be unlockable through an upcoming raid quest that we don't necessarily know about, or maybe the next Festival of Universes, just because they do distribute new Super Souls within those types of events. So just know that later down the line, we will be able to unlock this Super Soul, and it's called What Good Is a New Power If I Don't Try It Out? It's a 4-star Super Soul, and it's actually from King Goma, the main antagonist from Dragon Ball Daima. Once only, when using a super attack, temporarily boosts strength of all attacks by 1.5 times amount. So right off the bat, extremely different from all the other power boost Super Souls like this one, for example. Temporarily boost strength of all attacks by an XL amount, which is 20%. The largest one that I've seen would be a double XL, which is 25%, right? So you can still technically convert this 1.5 times amount to a percentage, which is basically 50%. But not only when you activate a super attack, also when using an ultimate attack, you'll be getting the same power increase, temporarily boost strength of all attacks by another 1.5 times amount. Again, a 50% increase. So this Super Soul pairs up extremely well with the new DLC 19 attacks. I'll go ahead and break all that down. But while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and try to just output as much damage as possible. So I went ahead and equipped a +5 QQ Bang towards Ki Blast Supers and Ki Blast attacks, because obviously with that new Super Saiyan 3 Final Flash from Daima Vegeta, it consumes every single Ki bar, and the more Ki bars you have, the more damage you'll be outputting. So not only that we have the +5 QQ Bang towards Ki Blast Supers, we're also going to be using the Super Saiyan 3 Daima Final Flash, which already does intense damage. And you already know I had to put 200 attribute points towards the Ki Blast Super category. So we're just going to skyrocket in terms of numbers. And we're going to be going in with Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, just because we will be getting the additional 35% damage increase. This is the amount of damage that Final Flash Super Saiyan 3 Daima does without the Super Soul being active. This is purely just going to be that 200 attribute point system and 13 bars of Ki. Can't necessarily get that 15 bars of Ki. 13 is the max with the 200 attributes with that +5 QQ Bang, right? So 33,000 damage. Do that once more just to get confirmation over here. Boom. Yeah, that one actually destroyed him this time around. Now this is going to be the damage with Blue Evolved. Again, 35% increase. Yeah, that one-shotted the opponents. All right, so we have to change the setting over here to unlimited. So if we're doing this much damage now, just imagine with that 1.5 damage increase. So you see how I reverted from Super Saiyan Blue back to my base form? Even though I reverted halfway, we still did 46,000 damage. This is with no additional power boost, such as what? Fighting Pose G or the rebrand Super Soul Meditation. No additional power boosts are required. This is just your normal Ki-based build with the Blue Evolved and the Super Soul. Or yeah, again, the Super Soul's not active just yet. This is literally just Final Flash being extremely overpowered. Now, go ahead and restart This is with the Super Soul. Not necessarily going to be activating Blue Evolved just yet. We'll work our way up to that. 51,000 damage. So if you don't necessarily have enough time to transform, you'll still be one-shotting the opponent in your base form. Correct? So 51,000 damage. Now with Blue Evolved, we're just slowly climbing up the ranks. 62,000 damage, but there's more. We're not done just yet. Y'all remember how the Super Soul also grants that 1.5 extra damage for super attacks? So Force Edge, for an example, let's go ahead and use the Super Soul first. So this is Force Edge without the Super Soul. 3,900. So 1.5 times amount. Above that would be, so half of 3,900 would be, what is that? Like 1,900 damage, right? 1,900. So 1,900 stack on top of 3,900. That would be 4,900, about 5,800 damage with the Super Soul. So let's see if that's accurate. Yeah, 5,000. I said 5,800, but it's 5,900. Notice the time duration of the Super Soul. So after we activate the super attack, you see how it's active, but it's already blinking and it's gone. So it literally only lasts for about 3 seconds or so. It's very fast. The ultimate attack power boost does last a bit longer. So you do have enough time to use the entire animation of Final Flash 3 Daima right there. But the reason why I said at the start of the video that this Super Soul pairs up extremely well with the DLC 19 attacks is because of Burning Blast. You can link up an ultimate attack after you use Burning Blast. You see how fast that startup is? You can just use it immediately. So what I'm trying to say is you can stack the 1.5 power boost from the super attack variation immediately into the ultimate attack 1.5 power boost. That's just absurd. Basically, we're stacking the two. Now, do keep in mind, the super attack variation from the Super Soul, it doesn't last that long. You see how it already disappeared? So we only get to use some of it, right? But again, this is how much damage we'll be doing in our base form with both the super and ultimate attack 1.5 power increase, which I guess again is a 3 times amount, or 100% if I'm doing the math correctly. Anyway, so Burning Blast restarts. Burning Blast immediately into Final Flash. 68,000 damage. Remember, the damage with just the ultimate, which was sitting around 50,000 damage or something. Yeah, 51. So with the additional Force or Burning Blast power boost, you can see the Super Soul top left corner. It activates twice. You see what I mean? 68,000? This Super Soul is busted. It was busted just using the individual boosts alone, right? So if you just want to use the ultimate attack variation throughout the battle, or let's say if you do a simple knockback, you want to follow up with that 1.5 increase for the super attack, then go ahead. But you can combine both of them only with Burning Blast and, you know, Final Flash, just because of that unique ability you can do immediately after you land Burning Blast, lead straight into the ultimate. Now, there are other super attacks out there. I believe that one technique from Dispo, but it's a strike super ability. You know, there are other attacks where you can use supers directly into ultimates, but since I have a key-based builds, I decided to go with the DLC 19 abilities. Once more, just to show you how absurd this strategy is. 68,000 damage. Ain't nobody is surviving that. The only downside to this extremely simple build is that you can't use any supers throughout your battle, right? So let's say if you're trying to go for this build that I currently have, you know, max key with Burning Blast into Final Flash. Since it only activates the Super Soul once for each, you know, again, if you're trying to save it for a one-shot ultimate, then yeah, you can't use your typical supers throughout the battles, because let's say if you do, then the Super Soul is already up after just one super attack, right? And that's it. Say goodbye. So now let's go ahead and use the same strategy, but with Blue Evolved. Dun, 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 dun. Let's go ahead and remove the inputs. So Blue Evolved with that additional 35%. Oh my gosh, I'm ready for this. 77,000 with just the Super Soul and your key-based character with the Awoken, of course. There are other extremely overpowered builds out there, you know, ultimate attacks such as the Golden Emperor's Death Beam or even Final Explosion. But again, the Super Soul doesn't necessarily last that long, so Final Explosion, it melts all your stamina, so obviously that's going to last longer than the Super Soul itself. Same with Emperor's Death Beam. The animation to that will outlast the Super Soul. Final Flash does that a little bit, but for the most part, you do get the entirety of the attack, and then the Super Soul just ends just before the ultimate attack itself ends. So you do get pretty much all of it, right? But isn't that crazy? This is all you need. The Super Soul, and that's it. You don't even necessarily need to transform, because again, you'll be still one-shotting the opponent. 68,000. Do you even need a Key Blast build? Let's say if my attribute system was at 100 instead of 200. And let's say I don't have a +5 QQ Bang in Key Blast Supers. I don't even think I need that. It's just the Super Soul alone is good enough. Let's go ahead and test that out. But before we do that, once more with the Blue Evolved, because as I said before, the Final Flash Daima, it consumes every single key bar that you have. So during the actual ultimate, you can see the character reverting from Blue Evolved to base. You see that? So what I'm trying to say is, as soon as I revert to my base form, am I still getting that 35% increase? You know what I'm saying? If not, I should probably go with the Beast Awoken skill, because in Beast, you do not revert to your base form when you consume all your ki. Super Saiyan Blue Evolved is extremely unique. In order to stay in Blue Evolved, you need, you know, at least one key bar, right? So what I'm trying to say is, when Final Flash consumes every single energy bar, undergoing the Beast, I guess I will still be outputting the 30% damage throughout the entire ultimate attack, since I'm in the Beast form, right? Right now, currently, with everything active, the Awoken skill, and using the super attack into ultimate, that's sitting at 77,000. I guess 77,400. So now let's test it with the Beast Awoken skill. Same exact QQ Bang with the +5 towards Ki and Ki Blast attacks. The 200 attribute system. The only thing that's different is going to be the Awoken skill itself. Go ahead and transform. So in theory, the Beast transformation should do a bit more damage, just because, again, you know, if we consume all the ki, it doesn't necessarily make us revert to our base form. So for the second half of the Final Flash, we'll still be in Beast, outputting that additional 30% for the entire ultimate attack. Unlike Blue Evolved, where halfway throughout the ultimate attack, we revert to our base form, right? So we're not necessarily getting that 35%. But it's all just a theory for now. Let's go ahead and test this. Let's see if Beast is a better Awoken for this Super Soul. forgot to set his health to maximum. Hey man, technical difficulties unlimited. All right. Oh yeah, DQ Mind's Beast actually takes away 5 energy bars. So during your official online battle, you have to work your way back up to the 13 energy bars, right? All right, moment of truth. Oh, wait. So the theory is correct. Beast is better with this specific setup, right? Burning Blast into Final Flash with this Super Soul. Because Blue Evolved is 77,000, is 77,400. And with Beast, notice how we stay in the transformation right here? We output 70, okay, the first time was 78,000. The second time around is still a bit stronger than Blue Evolved, sitting at 77,600. All right. Yeah, so yeah, the theory's correct, I'm assuming. Just because we stay in the transformation. Oh, 82,000, yeah. So going back to Blue Evolved, when we revert to our base form, we obviously we don't get that 35% increase anymore. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, Beast technically would be the better builds for, you know, the Super Soul and Burning Blast into Final Flash, correct? If only this Super Soul provided an attack up power increase. But unfortunately it doesn't. We have auto just guard. We would easily surpass 99,000, which is the limit in terms of the damage output. Yeah, I just really wanted to go over this Super Soul just because it sounded extremely overpowered, and it is, right? We don't necessarily need to add any additional, you know, power boost abilities like what I mentioned before, the rebrand or fighting pose G or T, whatever the heck it is. But now I want to test this with no QQ Bang and 0 attributes and the Ki Blast category. Went ahead and removed the +5 QQ Bang for the Ki and Ki Blast supers and reverted my Ki Blast super and max Ki attributes back down to 0. The only thing I counted for is going to be my level, which is sitting at 160. So now the damage we're about to witness right now is going to be purely from the Super Soul itself. I will be using the strategy 1.5 boost from the super and then using the ultimate attack immediately afterwards. Let's see if we can still one-shot Topo again with that minus 25 towards his defense because of his Super Soul. I will be transforming, but want to use the base form first, see how much damage we output here. Go ahead and remove that. I don't think we're going to be one-shotting Topo, but let's see. 24,000. Wait, so didn't even have enough Ki to use the additional bursts. Did you guys notice that? There it is! 28,000. Dang, that still does immense damage. So let's say you go in with your most craziest strike damage builds, right? So what is that? 200 in basic attack, 200 in strike supers and ultimates, plus QQ Bang and strike supers, stamina, whatever it may be, right? So not only that, you'll be doing max damage for your basic strike stuff and combo strings, but let's say if you have this Super Soul with Burning Blast and Final Flash, technically you'll be outputting immense damage in the Ki Blast category as well. You know what I mean? So like best of both worlds. You don't need 200 in Ki Blast or +5 QQ Bang and Ki Blast, just because with this Super Soul alone and the two abilities right here, stacking both 1.5 power boost, you'll still be outputting 29,000 damage in Ki Blast, even though you're not necessarily the best in terms of Ki Blast because you have everything set to Strike. And this is in my base form, so let's say if you have Super Saiyan God activated, that'll just increase the Strike side of things even more because Super Saiyan God doesn't necessarily increase the super attacks or ultimates. So base form is a good representation of that, I guess. But now let's go ahead and activate Beasts. So probably going to be sitting around 35,000 damage, maybe. 33. Oh, almost one-shot Topo. But by the time you deplete your opponent's stamina, right, this technique right here will destroy the opponent with ease. Because obviously if you're depleting the opponent's stamina, then he'll most likely be taking at least some damage. Pretty dang crazy, man. Absurd stuff over here. You don't necessarily need any builds, just the Super Soul alone, and then you'll defeat the opponent. This is pretty much it for today's video. Wanted to showcase how crazy this Super Soul is. Do keep in mind it's not necessarily out. The only reason why I haven't unlocked is because of the Xenoverse 2 save editor over on the PC side of Xenoverse 2. We'll most likely be able to unlock this through a raid quest or the upcoming Festival Universes, whichever one. It's not going to be part of the Time Patrol Metal Shop because they already went ahead and dropped the lineup, all the new items. Yeah, and this item's not part of the shop at all. The new Gambling Super Soul, however, will be part of the Time Patrol Metal Shop. We'll get a we'll have a chance to get a ×7 experience boost increase, which is just absurd. Dude, they're just upping the ante, right? With the level cap for chapter 3, we'll most likely be getting that 180 cap limit. Now with these broken Super Souls, everything's just going to be even more broken. So thank you guys for the immense support as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.